Hey, this is Nicky G and welcome to Better Commander. Today we're diving deep into Merfolk and Commander with Mihail. Alright, listen, I opened 2 boxes of Modern Horizons 2. Don't judge me. It was during a crazy time, I couldn't hang out with anyone, and I was home. In any case, I opened all possible variations of Sefloor of Sea and Sky. I always wanted to build a Merfolk deck, but I ended up using her in my Dalekos deck. Check that one out, I have 2 versions and both are pretty dope. Now, Merfolk are an awesome tribe, and I like how cheap they are to cast and how tricky they can be. The trade-off is that they're very small. Sefloor was a great option, but Dominaria gives us another Merfolk Lord and another commander option with Emperor Mihail Gorbachev II. Alright, first off, let's just talk about this art for a second. Mihail's got a tail, but he's riding a seahorse that has actual front hooves, but also has a tail. Is this gonna bother anybody else or is it just me? I mean, this guy can swim. Like, what the heck is going on here under the sea? Alright, Emperor Mihail II. 1 blue for a legendary creature, Merfolk Noble. It's a 3/3. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast Merfolk spells from the top of your library. Whenever you cast a Merfolk spell, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 1/1 blue Merfolk creature token. So, in a deck where you're packing 30 to 40 Merfolk, the odds of hitting a tribal spell on top is pretty good. Hey, before we get too deep in, no pun intended, remember to leave a like, that's helpful, hit the sub button, that's pretty cool, and leave a comment for the algorithm. Alright, so the token creation on Mihail is better than it looks. Merfolk spells are usually pretty tiny and cheap, so you'll be able to double spell in later turns and pop out some tokens. The other drawback with Merfolk is the limited number of lords and the rather weak synergy between members of the tribes. There are several artifacts that kind of shore up these weaknesses inherent in the tribe. The downside is these artifacts are relatively expensive money-wise due to their colorless nature and the fact that they can go in any tribal deck. So let's explore some of these tribe-specific artifacts. We have Door of Destinies. This can be a real killer if we get it out early in the game. Then we have Herald's Horn. So this is a really cheap card. As Herald's Horn enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Going to choose Merfolk. Creature spells you cast at the chosen type cost 1 less to cast, and at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Heraldic Banner is a really underutilized mana rock that acts as universal pump for your blue creatures. This card's great in a monocolored tribal deck. We're going to be casting lots of Merfolk. An Icon of Ancestry is a lord effect that can draw us cards if we end up running low. Vanquisher's Banner. This is a really expensive card, but this can be an invaluable way to refill our hand. Merfolk are cheap, so we're drawing cards rapidly if we can untap with this thing on the field. Lastly, we have the old Coat of Arms. Each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least 1 creature type with it. This is a symmetrical effect, so our opponents get it too. And remember, it counts tokens as well. We're going to be running some mana doublers as well. High Tide is 1 blue mana. Until the end of turn, all islands produce an additional blue when tapped for mana. This is a one-off effect that goes great in any mono blue deck. Caged Sun and Gauntlet of Power are 2 artifacts that go great in a deck like this. The mana doubling effect is key and the Lord effect is awesome. Keep in mind that Gauntlet of Power applies to everyone and Caged Sun just applies to your side of the board. So we're going to be running a fair amount of basic islands. You may want to consider cards that care about that and can capitalize on the high amount of basics we're running. Engulf the Shore is 3 and a blue for an instant. Return to their owner's hand all creatures with toughness less than or equal to the number of islands you control. Now, Engulf the Shore is symmetrical, but Spectral Deluge, which is 4 blue for a sorcery, return each creature your opponents control with toughness X or less to its owner's hand, where X is the number of islands you control. Spectral Deluge is an asymmetrical effect. Scourge of Fleets has similar text and comes with a big, beefy body. This is a great card in a mono blue deck. The old Stormtide Leviathan, look at the size of this big fish. So this can be a great finisher. Quite a few of our Merfolk have Island Walk, and 2 of our lords give our Merfolk Island Walk as well. And speaking of lords, we have Master of the Pearl Trident and Lord of Atlantis. These are functionally the same card. They're 2 mana 2/2s. Other Merfolk creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Island Walk. But check out Lord of Atlantis, dude. He's got those bright colors. That means, he's a real dangerous threat in the wild. Speaking of lords, we got Merfolk Sovereign and Marrow Redray. They make an appearance, and Dominaria United gives us Vodalian Hexcatcher, which has sacrifice a Merfolk, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. It's pretty nice. Now, depending on your budget, you can include some top deck manipulation, but I would suggest more draw. You tend to run your hand out quickly when the Merfolk are so cheap to cast. So we have Kindred Discovery, Military Intelligence, and any and all Merfolk that say draw a card. Alright, say it with me, it's kind of fun. Sefloor of Sea and Sky. So you want cards like that, Sefloor Oracle, any cards that are going to draw you cards in a Merfolk deck. Oh, what's this now? Sigil Tracer. It's an awesome card. And 21 out of 36 Merfolk I have in my deck are wizards as well as being Merfolks. Empress Galena kind of tops out our mana curve at 5 mana value. This card goes great in a Merfolk deck. It also goes great in any Theft deck that you happen to have. So this is 3 blue for creature legend. It's a 1/3. It has blue and tap. Gain control of target legend or legendary permanent. I mean, this is Commander, dude. We're going to be running lots of legends out there. And you got Kopala, Warden of the Waves. 1 blue for a legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard. It's a 2/2. Spells your opponents cast that target a Merfolk you control cost 2 more to cast. Abilities your opponents activate that target a Merfolk you control cost 2 more to cast. Great protection piece in a Merfolk deck.
Master of Waves. 3 and a blue for a creature Merfolk Wizard, yeah. 2 and a 1. Protection from red. Elemental creatures you control get +1/+1. This guy's an army in a can. He's got the devotion mechanic and he's bringing out some sweet elementals. I mean, look at this guy just out there conjuring on the waves.
Theta Adele Inquisitor is 1 blue for a legendary creature Merfolk Rogue with Island Walk. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, search that player's library for an artifact card and exile it. That player then shuffles their library until the end of turn. You may play that card. She digs out soul rings like a dang truffle pig. Alright, so now what do you want me to do? Name 28 other Merfolk? I mean, go to Scryfall, hit the blue checkbox, and type Merfolk. What am I, a marine biologist over here? There's 186 of them. Just pick the ones you like. So check out my list if you want. It can set up a pretty dominant board state on turn 7 or so. Merfolk are a ton of fun and can be built on a budget if you are so inclined. I'll work up a budget list at some point, throw it in the description, but there are a ton of Merfolk out there and you're going to have fun. So, like my mother always told me, have fun with your crabs, okay? This is Nicky G from Better Commander, signing off.